Hey y'all, Irix Guy here, and I just wanted to talk about the Phantom 3. Now, it's without a doubt my favorite drone on the market at the time of posting this video, and the reason being at a high level is that it has the best 4K camera in my opinion, because I don't get the fisheye effect like I do with the GoPro. Now, I love GoPro, but for a drone application, I prefer a camera that's well, at least at the time of posting this, that's not like the Hero 4 Black where you get the fisheye. That's what I like about the Phantom 3 professional camera, is that I get 4K video and I don't get the fisheye effect. But with that said, it would be foolish for me to say that the Phantom 3 does not have problems. And as a result of some of the more recent firmware updates, and obviously I take great care of my Phantom 3, and I took great care of my previous drones that I owned. But there are some minor kinks that one should be aware of. And if you, well, I just got hung up on my microphone. And if you don't approach these minor kinks in a positive way, it can really be a deal breaker for you, and potentially cause you to step away from a really rewarding hobby. So for that reason, I want to share what I found with the Phantom 3. Now, this is the first Phantom that I've had where I've had a mild amount of troubleshooting that I had to perform. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, because again, Phantom 3 is without a doubt my favorite drone on the market today. But you should be aware of these problems, and what I'm going to tell you within this video is how I resolved the issues that I encountered. So one of the things that happened with the most recent firmware update is that when I was flying, sometimes the camera would go a little bit crazy, and then sometimes it would appear that it was filming crooked. So instead of a horizon that looks like it should, it kind of had a little tilt to it, that way or that way. And it just wasn't, when I turned it on, it didn't seem to sync up and say GPS, where it greens up and it says ready to fly. It didn't do that as rapidly, and then also on one occasion I encountered an issue. It said BIAS, B-I-A-S error, and then I also encountered an issue that said IMU calibration required. So if you've got any sort of abnormal behavior with your Phantom 3, don't panic. Obviously, you need to make sure that you didn't have your gimbal guard and/or that little styrofoam piece that came out of the factory box attached, because that'll make you think you've got an issue when you really don't. But beyond that, there's a few things you need to do. Now check the link within this video's description to 400orbelow.com, and you can also just go to droneevangelist.com. They'll get you to the same place. And what I'm doing, I'm posting a plethora of tutorial content there as I encounter the issues with the Phantom 3. So with this, for example, all that I had to do is perform an IMU calibration. It took about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I followed it up with an auto calibration for the Phantom 3 gimbal. And after doing that, everything was hunky dory again, and Phantom's functioning like it should, and it's functioning like it did when I got it, and it was new after my initial firmware update. It wasn't until about 2 or 3 firmware updates in when I started noticing that abnormal behavior with my Phantom 3 Professional. So I'm glad there is a simple solution for it. One thing I wish is that the manufacturer themselves, I wish that the manufacturer would be more proactive about communicating this information to their fan base, because I like a challenge, don't get me wrong, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that may have picked up a Phantom and maybe they didn't do a YouTube search or a Google search, and maybe they thought that they got something was defective and they shipped it back, and they didn't really get to fully experience such a rewarding hobby because they were under the false impression that they had a defective unit. So it's a weird world that we're in right now as early drone adopters. And as I've said before, and I'll preach again, since as I said, I'm the drone evangelist here. So I'm going to speak the drone gospel, whether it's good, whether it's bad. It's all here. And what I just said was real world experience with the Phantom 3, and hopefully nothing else pops up as a result of future firmware updates. But it's definitely something that's not going to steer me away from the Phantom 3 or the Phantom series in general, because I'm, as always, I'm excited to see what's next. Phantom 4 and beyond. But it is something that I want to put out there on the internet so that people don't think that I'm just drinking the DJI Kool-Aid. Whether it's good or bad, that I'm going to tell you that it's always good. That's not the case. I will tell you that there are hiccups, and that this is how I fix mine, and hopefully it resolves any issues that you may have. Or if you don't have those issues now, if you update firmware in the future and you encounter issues, then maybe this is something that'll help, because it is frustrating especially when you buy something this expensive and it doesn't work 100% without additional configurations. It is kind of frustrating. But the flip side of this is that if you don't get involved with drones early on, if you miss out on this hobby, if you miss out on the opportunity to be part of this hobby in its infancy, then it's like anything else. Computers, they went from very slow to just, rapid evolution there. Same with cell phones. Like I've said before, you had a cell phone in a bag, and now you've got a cell phone in a pocket that has a touch screen, an iPhone or an Android. So it's just that rapid evolution. And right now, in my mind with drone, we're still in the bag cell phone days. We're still in the 286 computer days. We see the future. We see what's coming. But unless we embrace it, unless we thoroughly understand the technology, unless we challenge ourselves and others, the evolution of this is not going to be as rapid as I'd like to see it become. And I'm all over this stuff. This is, I used to enjoy computers, but now computers are just too, click here, click there. They've dumbed it down. I grew up in the MS-DOS shell, the DOS command prompt. I didn't use Windows. I didn't drag and drop. I used the DOS shell and the Unix shell. And it's kind of the same mentality with drones. These things are going to become so dumbed down from a user perspective that the ones of us that, like you, if you're watching this and you've got one, and myself, we're experiencing this hobby early on. And we're presented with a unique opportunity. So keep that in mind when you do encounter issues, if you encounter issues, whether it's with a Phantom 3 or another Phantom or a different brand drone for that matter. Don't look at that issue as a problem. Look at that issue as an opportunity to learn. And not just for yourself to learn, but an opportunity to educate the masses by way of social media. YouTube, like you're watching right now. Look at it as a learning opportunity, because together, as like-minded hobbyists, we can really help to fast-track the evolution of drones. And that's what it's all about for me. It's a lot of fun. And a lot of people probably watching this video, man, that's goofy. And that's fine. Your opinions may vary. A lot of people are watching this video and they're having a good time watching it. And some people are like, man, that guy's a dork. And I am. And that's the beauty of it, is that I can do what I want to do. And this is the most exciting hobby that I've had in a long time. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, youtube.com/IRIXGuy. Again, check out 400orbelow.com. You can also get there by going to Drone Evangelist, like the preacher, droneevangelist.com. And share with others, subscribe, youtube.com/IRIXGuy. Y'all have a good day.